Welcome. Power BI April 2026. They just released their new update. I'm covering everything in this release. We're going to talk through the new preview features in form of that update, the direct lake calculated columns. This is great for anyone doing direct lake semantic modeling, the update to the customized theme improvements, the fixed card layout styles. This is that pixel perfect opportunity you have now. Category interactivity, it's been improved. I'm going to demo it too. Azure Maps, some new selectability. I'm going to demo that. And then a new calculated column ability to create based upon the user context columns. This is great stuff. We're going to dive into it. Every month, updates are going to come. Subscribe, leave a comment, ask a question, something you want to see. Tell me your thoughts on this update. I want to hear it. So let's dive into it. Let's get going. All right, so here we are inside of Power BI Desktop. As always, you can follow along with this file. Use the data model, everything that's shown here. Go to the link in this description and you can get this file from the GitHub. So what we're going to do is we're going to cover these 7 updates. We're going to start with 2 inform and then there'll be 5 demos. You're going to get fully up to speed. So the quick hitters first, the list slicer, or I'm sorry, the preview features. Now when you update this, some features are still in preview. You can see that if you go under build, you can now, they partition them out on the right hand side to be list slicer, or it shows preview, and shape map preview. This is great. It just helps segment things so we know where the visuals are that are still in preview, kind of being worked on and tweaked. Cool update. Next one. This one is great for anybody doing direct lake semantic modeling. I can do another video on direct lake if you're interested. Let me know. But what used to be a problem is that we couldn't create calculated columns with direct lake semantic modeling. That's completely changed now with this release. Again, they're unmaterialized on direct lake, which means it's not going to persist actually in the lake itself, but they will be available in the semantic model. This is huge. It makes development much easier when you need to add that quick column for direct lake. And with this idea and even more things that keep coming up, a huge thing that I love is DataCamp. They're sponsoring this video today. I want to show you about them. Let's dive into it. I've partnered up with DataCamp on this update. I love their program and I highly recommend it. What we're doing here is great, but if you want to get something way more structured where you can actually practice as you go, DataCamp is the best next step. They have a Power BI fundamentals track that walks you through everything step by step, connecting to data, cleaning and transforming it, building interactive dashboards, pretty much everything we do here in the videos, but it's hands-on, directly in your browser, highly structured, tons of lessons. That's really the key difference. You're not just watching, you're actually building alongside the lesson. And if you're looking to go further, they also have a data analyst and Power BI track. That's one more deeply focused on data modeling, real world business scenarios, and getting you closer to job ready skills, getting you in that market. One thing I like is that DataCamp partnered directly with Microsoft. So when you complete the track, you're going to get 50% off the official Power BI certification from Microsoft. So you're not just learning Microsoft Power BI, but you're actually earning real world credentials, building up your LinkedIn profile, getting you recognized to move into that position or elevate your career. So if you're interested, I've got links to both tracks in the comments below. Click them, open it up, check it out. All right, let's get back to this update. Right. Now we're diving into the customized theme updates. So this is cool. If you look at my video from last month, when they released the Fluent 2 update, you can see an A/B comparison, what this looks like. Again, I kind of have an example dashboard. It just, things get smoothed out, spacing, things change. But let me get to the point here. For what is the theme improvement? So I'm going to show you some things. Firstly, you go to View, drop down, Customize Current Theme. If it's your first time doing this, after this update, you're going to see this button, Update Theme. Mine won't show it because I've already done it, so check it out. Open up this. Now, what this allows is previously you couldn't select, but we can look at the Fluent 2, Classic 2026, 2018. Again, this is the default setting for the themes, the spacing, the lines, the colors. Fluent 2 is definitely looking cool, so I suggest that. And they updated an issue. In the release last month, if you create a matrix, by default, these plus arrows weren't there. You might have noticed that. This is now fixed, and you can reference it here as an example in this matrix, so you're all set. Also, if you want to reset to default, there's a big old reset to default box now that you can click if you go to customize current themes and you get into it. So that's helpful for pretty much everything we're going through here. So customizing current themes, there you go. Fixed size layout. This is great for people who want the pixel perfect formatting. I'm going to show you this demo, what this is all about, so you can understand it. Right now, it's applicable to the card, the button slicer, and the list slicer. Fixed size. So what in the world are we talking about here? Well, let's just look at it. This is a card, standard card, and if we go into the card or the button slicer, I'll do both of these as an example, we can see how this works. So when you go to the card, multi-card layout, there's a layout section. There's this new opportunity to click fixed size. Previously, it was fit to space. So again, if I'll just move this, if we pick fit to space and we move this, all the cards kind of change together. But that requires you to dial in all the different settings if you want to get things pixel perfect, lining up a certain way. So what they've done now is they've enabled fixed size. I turn this on. You can see I'm moving this box. It doesn't change. If I have it set to horizontal, the width, I can go pixel by pixel to get this dialed in exactly where I want it. If I change it to vertical, and you see what's cool, again, you might have seen this arrow before, but if you have cards and you do fixed fit to space, which is how it was, you'd have to kind of always move this thing up or down or size the cards. But now you don't have to. This is the value of this one. You can go to fixed size, and it enables the bigger scrolling for all of these things. And again, this now sets the height, so if I want each one to be smaller or larger. But it's a good way to have that pixel perfect detail over your cards. Another example is with the grid. So you can see this grid is fixed size, and if I set it up that way, first I'll turn it off. If I go to fit to space, 3 rows, 3 columns, and it's based upon the card settings that I put. But if I do fixed size, now I can change the height and the width of each one of these to fit this exactly how I want it. Again, it's great for scrolling, makes things way easier. So pixel perfect, that fixed size layout, that's going to help you a bunch. This is another subtle update, the card interactivity formatting. It's pretty darn cool. It's very subtle, but it's really helpful. A couple months ago, a great feature was released where if you have a KPI card and you add a category to it, you could actually filter it. So it acts as a button slicer. But you wouldn't really know what you're clicking on because it wouldn't have any interaction within the card visual itself. Now, if I click something, you can see Xbox, it's going to filter, Power Platform, filter. If I hold Control, put both of them, bring them all back. So this update is great. It allows us to just have that subtle awareness. But if you don't know about adding a category and having it being a filter dynamically to a card, it's awesome. It's very subtle and it helps a bunch. Moving forward to the map style picker. So this is another quick demo I'll show you. If you have an Azure map, again, this file has one, feel free to play around with it. In this case, I just took the map and I set up the latitude and longitude and made a circle by sales amount. But what this update is now when you want to change the map style picker, it actually persists all the way into the map settings. So what I mean by that is that say I come here and I pick road. Well, also now if I come to this visual map settings, you can see road selected, and then I can detail whatever I want to put on this one, and it will enable it for the users. But again, you can, when you pick it here, it will actually switch over here, so you can see the correlation, the connection between those two things. Very good. User context calcs as a calculated column. So I'll do a quick demo of what these are. You probably already know about it, but the thing is how you can make a calculated column using these now, which is very cool. So the example they gave is, well, let's start about what they are. So in this model, you can see I have user culture, which is literally saying user culture, username, username, user principal name. So again, this is my personal setup. So it's just showing my own laptop here. But if you're on, say, an enterprise account or something, this will usually be your corporate email for the user principal name. So you can create RLS and all these sorts of things. But what's cool is now you can make an actual calculated column, user context aware, using these new things, including culture. And so what this can do is, say you want to have a multi-language model, you can actually, like, I'm returning English US, so you could create a switch statement or whatnot to say what language to use in your model depending upon the culture of the person. Apply that to the actual calculated column, the processing of the semantic model itself, and get going from that. So lots of good updates in this round. Leave a question. Let me know what you think. Do you like it? Do you not like it? What would you like to see? I'd love your opinions and thoughts. You all take care, and we'll have more stuff coming your way. See ya.